Very well organised.
You stand on the
Can't think of cheap.
yeah, they would on the sliders.
Put their thumbs on top.
So we sat them over cable around.
So, our team won. Our team won. No, our team won. Yeah, one fast one, one slow one.
Emma could be in, she's quite sneaked in.
when I was told I was sharing a platform with Kate Adie this afternoon, I found it rather hard to believe it's going to be in the tranquil surroundings of Stonar School. I'll just say a word or two about Kate. After a distinguished career in broadcasting over a period of more than 25 years, Kate Adie is known as a person who's prepared to go to places of great danger in order to inform the British public about the realities of war. And before she dashes off back to Bosnia, I'm really very delighted to warmly welcome Kate Adie as our guest of honour this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, Kate Adie.
Ladies and gentlemen, girls, first of all, I should say congratulations in advance. I always say this at speech days because I often feel that people don't say congratulations to the people who've done all the work, and that's you. And I mean that, because I felt, coming to a speech day, all those memories come up of what it used to be like. Sitting there, some are going to get prizes. Especially her who swatted. Some people are not going to get a prize, and people who tried their best, because you tried ever so hard, and you really wanted to, but somehow, when it came to handing them out in the end, it didn't come to you, but you tried your best. And I'm sure that everybody here made an effort to be good at something, whatever it is, good at something. And I have my memories of prize giving, school prize giving. You'll be relieved to know that only amounts to really one very splendid occasion, when a very long-winded and ancient bishop, whom we all knew, fell off the platform. And he did it before his speech, so it was a very short prize giving, and it was wonderful. I'm sorry I have failed to do that today, so you're in for a shortish speech, I assure you. The other thing I remember of school, and I have to say this, with the school magazine being waved in front of one, does it have an effect on you, your school? What does it do? I have just one slight thought that occurred to me. On the front of that school magazine, the school motto, which was Timor Domini, Principium Sapientiae, fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And there were 4 houses in that school, as you have houses, I believe, and they were called Tiger, Swift, Panther, and Drake. We wondered a long time why they were given this name. This was before environmental studies. I went to school a long time ago. They never thought about these things. And anyway, you know, how is the drake the equivalent of the tiger? And then we found out, when I was in the 6th form, somebody got out some photographs, and we discovered that our houses had been named after First World War battleships. Not exactly appropriate for a girls' school. Ah, yes, said the headmistress. You are dressed in grey, like a battleship. You will be stalwart, and you will be patriotic. That was not the view of people outside the school, who saw us as dressed in grey, deadly, and always looking for a crew of Royal Naval sailors. So I don't know what sort of effect your school can have on you. I hope that your houses have gentler reasons behind them. Let me say a few words, if I may, about schools today that I see. Now, how come I go to schools? Because, as some of you know, who may watch the television sometimes, I spend my time in quite a lot of places that are not pleasant, that are full of difficulties and problems. Well, I see quite a lot of schools. Now, I think that the schools I've been to in the past few years, places that I've really remembered as schools, have been in places like Bosnia. Now, I go to what is now called former Yugoslavia, and I've been going there for almost 4 years. The countries of Croatia and Bosnia and Serbia, where there is a war going on, and a dreadful war. Well, one of the ways of reporting a war, quite simply, I believe, is not just to go to the conventional battlefield, to the places where you see those pictures of people fighting. Because a war goes right to the heart of everybody's ordinary life. It goes straight, for example, to schools. There are schools, of course, in Sarajevo, which is a very big city. It's about the size of Bristol. A huge city. And it had, as you can imagine, excellent schools. The sort of schools which attracted people not just from the city but from outside because they had such a good reputation. And those schools had lots of things going for them. For a start, what they did have is they used to have lots of skiing lessons because it's right in the mountains, and they held Winter Olympics in Sarajevo in 1984. So just about everybody in Sarajevo gets skiing lessons as well. Terrific when you go to school. But now there's a war. And in March this year, just a few weeks ago, I was in one of the oldest schools in the city, which stands by the river in the city centre. Every classroom in that school has holes in the wall. Not little ones, but big ones. And through those holes have come shells, great big mortar shells, and rockets. Every single classroom has got holes in the wall. But that doesn't mean the classrooms are empty, because in those classrooms were the pupils wearing lots of anoraks, because there's no heating. You can imagine when there's something like a war going on, no heating, no fuel, no electricity. So everybody sits through lessons wearing lots and lots of clothes, and their ski boots, and their socks, and their mittens, because it's freezing. Some of the pupils who come there get there in the morning because some of the schools have a very high reputation. So they don't just go to the local school, they come to this big city school in the centre which specialises in languages and the arts. They walk over 3 miles in the morning to get to school. Okay, 3 miles, it's good for nice healthy people, but they do walk through gunfire and they get shot at while they're walking to school. Because the snipers, the people with these dreadful guns, don't think anything about shooting at children, they shoot at everybody. So to go to school in the morning actually means getting up, gritting your teeth, putting on a lot of clothes because you're going to be cold, and scampering through the streets. No time to dawdle along and talk to your friends, no time to just wander around the shop windows, no time to gossip. It means getting to school, and getting to school alive and safely. That's quite something, isn't it? Also, they don't skip breakfast in the morning, and who here tries to skip breakfast because they all want to be slim and wonderful, and breakfast full of big fattening things, and bowls of cornflake with milk, yuck, and sugar? No. No, they don't have to make that decision, because there really is hardly any breakfast, because the city is under siege, and there's very little food comes in. And most girls are very lucky if they get just a little bread in the morning to see them off to school. Now, life's horrible for all of these people going to school, of fighting the shortage of food and the danger. It's truly dreadful. Now, when I ask them, is there anything good in life? What's life like? Do you know one of the things they tell me that's good? They say school. They say school is good. It's great to go to school, they say. School is what it's all about. Because at school, they can see their friends. And that's very reassuring. You don't think about that when you just bump into the same old lot every morning, do you? Especially her. Let me tell you, when life gets difficult, there's nothing like seeing your friends. It's marvellous. Great. Hi, how are you? Great. The people you get on with, the people you have fun with, the people you share things with, whatever and however little they are. You talk about the things that all of you talk about. School gives days a pattern, it gives it a purpose. It means there's a structure in life. You may think in your school, gosh, it seems repetitive, oh gosh, we've got to do that at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. But in fact, when life gets very difficult, and when everything goes astray, and when all the fixed things and the things you're used to, including the ski lessons, because they've gone, because there are people fighting on the mountains where they used to ski, when all of those things have disappeared, there's nothing quite like having someone say, at 11 o'clock you do this, and at 12 o'clock you do that. It gives you an idea that somebody's got life organized, that you've got a grip on something. Young people in Bosnia talk just like you do about getting qualifications, getting something for the future, and being able to use all their abilities to their advantage, getting knowledge, so that they can take decisions about running their own lives. Because one of the things which unfortunately they've come across very quickly and perhaps too early in life is that other people seem to be running their lives, that other things are happening which they can't do anything about. But one of the things they come to grips with, as you surely will, and are probably doing so now, is the more you know about things, the more you can take decisions, the more you can decide what you're going to do. In most wars and difficult places, there's no water comes through the tap because there's no water and no electricity. So you then have to make the big decisions. One of those difficult decisions, which all foreign correspondents at some point have to make. You have to decide, and I bet you've never had to decide this, whether you have to brush your teeth in beer or Coca-Cola. Now you may think that an odd thing to do, but let me give you a little tip. If there is no water around, and if you think, ugh, beer, ugh, brushing in Coca-Cola, let me suggest you a small experiment. Next time, and don't do this at home and annoy your mother, or certainly not at school. If you ever go camping, just try squeezing the toothpaste onto the brush and using no water. It's disgusting. That's the sort of thing that foreign correspondents have to do. Now, it is a curious kind of job. And I know that lots of people write to me from all over and they say, gosh, they'd love to be a foreign correspondent. They think that it's exciting. They think it's one of those things that seems to be glamorous. Well, it does have its moments. Although it sounds a little grim at times, there are moments when I have to count my blessings, and I have to remember also, while counting them, to do my bit, because this job is very much like that. You do have, in between the grotty food and the awful surroundings and those very, very, very big insects, and there are a lot, let me tell you, that you encounter in my job, there are the good things. And those good things are often more than just good, they're wonderful, because there's so much to see in the world. There's so much to be curious about. There's so much to learn and to enjoy. One of the absolutely wonderful things about my job is that you never stop learning. You see things, you hear things you never dreamed would happen. You never thought you would see. You never thought existed. The world is full of the most extraordinary, wonderful, peculiar, and exciting things. Don't ever get stuck in a corner just staring at the television set. Learn to climb through into that world which the set shows you, because it's enormous and wonderful. Now, I'm very lucky, but I did learn early on that you don't get much out of that wonderful world unless you put a lot into it. Whatever you're doing, if you're enthusiastic and if you try hard, you get much more out of things. Now that sounds like a bit of a lecture, doesn't it? You know, gosh, you've got to try harder, gosh, you've got to put a lot into it. Girls will try harder. And that's the phrase I used to hear many moons ago. But how can I convey what you need to do when it comes to enthusiasm and curiosity and making an effort? Well, I'm going to give you a little word, and it's a useful word, I hope, and I want you to remember this word. And it's a very ordinary word, and it's a word you come across when you're at school a lot. But when you leave childhood, school, and everything behind, it seems to slip out of people's sight. Now that word is adventure. I do remember going into the school library, and there was actually a section of books marked adventure. When you go up into grown-up libraries, they don't have that. It's as simple as that. They somehow put away adventure as a thing of childhood. You sometimes get adventure trips or adventure holidays when you're school children. Somehow, when you grow up, if you were to turn to your friends and say, what are you going to do for the summer holidays? You say, I'm going to have an adventure. They go, oh, good Lord, what a strange idea. Grown-ups forget adventure. I believe that you should hang on to adventure, or at least the spirit of adventure, because that is what makes life wonderful. There are lots of other things you should hang on to: your education, your good nature, and all the other things in life that your parents and your school tell you. But don't forget adventure. Be curious. Make an effort. Be independent. And try your best all of the time. And also, look on the world as somewhere where you can go and have your adventure. It's all out there for you. I am not telling you a tale. I am not sitting from the small confines of someone who dreamed about adventure. I've been terribly lucky. I've had an awful lot of adventure. And it's right ahead of you. Because when I was your age at school, I hadn't really thought of what I wanted to be. I certainly hadn't thought I was going to be anything special or different, or do anything particularly in life. Especially as I have just been reminded when I had to share the geography prize with Dallas Hargreaves. Couldn't find her way home, never mind geography. Now, adventure. I'd never thought of adventure, but I've been terribly lucky. So, on your way to your great adventure, I want you to do a couple of things. I want you to always keep in mind the possibility of adventure. And I want you to count your blessings while making an effort at the same time. So it's not going to be a quiet life in which you sit in a corner and do nothing. It's going to be a life ahead of you where you get up and do enormously interesting things. And it's all ahead of you. As I said at the start, congratulations, not only to those who've got a prize, but to those who made an effort and those who tried their hardest. And congratulations to all of you, so much younger than all of us, who've got ahead of you a huge adventure. Make sure that the years ahead of you contain the adventure that you want.